It's aliens! Oh my gosh. It's obviously aliens. How dumb do you have to be to realize that it's like humans? I mean, the entire idea is impossible for humans to comprehend. It's just so obvious because humans can't even fly to different galaxies, so it has to be aliens.
Let's talk about that. Thank you for tuning to Anime Radio. Today I'm going to be doing something special. In this video I'm going to be theorizing on the origin of the green light in Doctor Stone. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I recommend watching at least the first few episodes of the anime before coming back to watch this video. So, as you heard at the start of the video, my colleague is obviously obsessed with aliens. Since the second I told him about this theory of mine, he immediately jumped to that conclusion, which is a possibility I will be talking about, but it is not the only one. So I'm pretty sure he has some kind of unhealthy obsession with the aliens. I'm not sure about that whole idea, but anyway, in this video I'm going to be discussing about aliens as a cause, but also other things. First of all, in this video I'm going to be discussing about three main causes of this green light. But before I start, I want to say that this is only a theory of mine, not a fact. So if there are any mistakes or irregularities, type a comment to let me know. Now that I've said all I want to say, let's begin. Let's start by explaining what happens. During the first episode of Doctor Stone, after getting to briefly see all of the main characters, a green light appears, which shines on the whole world. Shortly after, everyone starts turning to stone. Now, at first, when I saw this happen, I immediately thought there could be about three causes to this event. First cause is aliens. This is the one that might make the most sense at first, since our image of aliens is an advanced civilization. This would obviously make sense for one reason. Let me explain. As we saw, the green light was able to turn humans into stone, but this isn't the only factor that shows that they needed advanced technology. They were able to petrify specifically swallows and humans. Now, I personally think that if they were able to get to planet Earth, they must have this kind of technology for one reason. Let me explain. We as humans are very curious and have been exploring Earth for millions of years, eventually exploring nearly the whole planet. After this happened, we got more curious and started searching in space. Now, you might be wondering why I'm saying all of this. Well, it's because we've discovered that close to our Earth, there are no other planets which can sustain life. For this reason, these aliens must have came from light years away, which is, if you don't know, a light year is how much light travels in a year. This measurement is used for very long distances, since, as we know for now, light is the fastest thing in the universe. So if aliens live that far away, they must have mastered light speed, or maybe even found a way to create wormholes, letting them get to any place in space in a mere instant. What I'm trying to say is that if they're able to have the technology to travel that far in a relatively short time, they are most certainly capable to pull off something like this. Passing on to the second possible cause, which is humans. Now, in this case, the humans capable of this feat had some kind of motive, which can be to create a war weapon or to restart humanity. In this first motive, this group must have tried first on swallows to see if their weapon worked, and shortly after tried it on humans. This doesn't make much sense though, since why would they turn all humans to stone if it was for a war? This could have happened by accident though. But for this reason, I think that the second motive is most likely true, since we've seen in the anime humans like Tsukasa that want complete freedom in this world. After having said that though, let's pass to the problem of this cause. First of all, as we know, this anime is mostly based on our world. This means that humanity in their world has achieved what we've achieved as well so far. For this reason, it's hard that someone would be able to create a weapon of this caliber for a specific reason. Let me tell you what it is. You may know MatPat as the destroyer of all of our good childhood memories with Disney and other shows and films, but he also does theories on anime. In fact, he did one on Dr. Stone. I'll just say what I took from his theory to help me explain, but do go check out his video because it was very interesting and entertaining, so I will be leaving the link in the description. In his video, he talks about what the green light was made of and what it could have caused to petrify humans. He comes to the conclusion that it must have been some kind of nanotech, for numerous reasons which he explains in his theory. And since we as humans haven't yet reached that kind of technology, it is unlikely some group of people could. This doesn't mean though that this theory is completely impossible. And finally, the third possible cause, which is a virus or disease. Now, to discover if something like this is even possible, I had to do a lot of research on certain things. The first thing I tried to find was if there are or have been viruses that cause something similar to this. After some research, I found 2 viruses similar to what happened in the anime. These are epidermal dysplasia verruciformis, also known as tree man syndrome, is a rare inherited skin disorder characterized by an eruption of brownish flakes resembling tree branches. I personally think this is very similar to what happens to all the humans in the anime, since in this disease, the infected have a slow transformation of their mass into this tree-like substance. There is although a small thing which does make this theory hard to be true, which I will go in depth later on. The second one is scleroderma. This is a little bit more known. This is a less powerful transformation of the skin than the previous disease, but nonetheless it still causes in the patient a hardening of the skin, which is still quite similar to what happens in Dr. Stone. Now, the second research I had to do was on the similarities that humans and swallows have. Now, I've done this because, as we see in the anime, only humans and swallows were affected. For this reason, they must have some kind of similar aspect for the virus to just affect them too. Now, after some research, I haven't found any aspect that only humans and swallow have. For this reason, I think this may make this cause hard to actually happen. This isn't though the only problem. The second problem is that after using the miracle fluid, which is nitol, on the petrified humans, they're completely cured. And as we saw with Sankyu, when his broken vertebra was completely healed. And as far as we know, there hasn't ever been a similar disease. Now, after I finish explaining all I had to explain, my final answer is humans. Let me tell you why. Other cases like aliens and viruses are difficult to happen since, for example, the disease case, it's hard for it to actually occur for the reasons I've said, which are that there haven't been diseases that cause regeneration to the patient, like what happens to the humans in the anime. And it can't be aliens since, as we saw, the anime is really attached to our science. And since we haven't found near to none, or we have found near to none information about aliens, it's really unlikely they would use such a cheap trick to explain the antagonist. So for this reason, humans is the most likely to occur, even though they need to be quite advanced. This is the end of this theory. I really hope you enjoyed this different type of video, because I certainly did, since it did make my brain work a little bit harder than usual. So if you've enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more similar content. That being said, thank you for tuning into Anime Radio, and I hope you join us in the next one. Goodbye.